So we're talking about wise and well, and we're zooming into wise right now. And we've talked about the 5 levels of increased gut intelligence and wisdom. We've also talked about the 3 brains that are necessary for increased wisdom. We've talked about the gut, heart, and now we're going to talk about the head. So just in a little review, don't forget that the gut's function is to alert you to cues at the tip of the iceberg. This is our GQ, our ability to unconsciously know it's time to pay attention. And our heart aligns us to what we value. It tells us what we value through our emotions. And if we explore our emotions, we learn what we value. We need to know that before we make decisions. But our head is our IQ. And our head assimilates the information to make its best decision in the moment that matters. And in order to make the best decision in the moment that matters, we have to have the ability to do 2 things. Number 1, learn and gain knowledge. And number 2, we need to learn how to assimilate the wisdom of our gut, heart, and head. So let's talk about learning and gaining knowledge first. So I don't know if you're like me, but sometimes I don't like to listen to the news because there can be a lot of negativity. And sometimes I feel like news channels like CNN and Fox News can give really conflicting information, and that can be very confusing. So one thing that I recommend for people is to be proactive in going to find your news. You might look at different publications so that you get different points of view. And you may choose to only tune in to the TV to a certain time where you feel comfortable going on that time slot. So maybe doing it before work is uncomfortable for you because you want to have your mind focused on work. Or maybe doing it right before you go to bed is not good for you because then your mind chatters and you can't sleep. But maybe deciding that, okay, when I get home from work, I'm gonna go seek out learning and news for 45 minutes or whatever your time period is, and that's gonna be my bucket of time to absorb information. And you can learn from many different things. It can be written publications, TV, YouTube channels, magazines. It can be groups. For example, I'm a part of a mentoring group. I'm a part of Forbes Coaches Council. And we have coaches and experts from all around the world. And we talk about these global pandemic problems. And we get different viewpoints from different experts so that we can think out of the box and have a big base of knowledge. So I recommend you dedicate a certain amount of time every day or every week to learning and growing in knowledge. Again, part of that might not just be news, it could be experts like doctors. What are they saying about it? So choose who you're gonna gain that information from and when you're gonna do that and how much, so you feel in control of that. I also recommend that you take time after you gain that knowledge to do step number 2, which is to assimilate the gut, heart, and head. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that to stop and pause and ask yourself, what does my gut know is real and true about this? Am I having a gut alert? And when you journal about that, you start to wonder, is there anything that is not adding up for me? What's not adding up? And it's kind of like being a scientist, of being curious and forming a hypothesis that's saying, this isn't adding up. I wonder why. And as you begin to wonder, then you go out and you start to seek the information to fill into the blanks of the information you don't have, to put together the pieces of the puzzle of what you need to know. And then you begin to journal and ask yourself, what does my heart want most from this? In other words, you want to align your heart to what you value. So as you're hearing all these experts tell you, you should do this and you should do that and you need this and you need that. And let's take the pandemic, for example. Oh, everybody over 60 years old is vulnerable. Well, I happen to be 61 years old and all my vitals are great. So I don't feel vulnerable because I hardly even get a cold ever. So it's taking in that information, but asking yourself, number one, what does my gut think is true? Well, based on this, I don't think that's true for me. What is my heart aligned to? You know, do I want safety and security, or do I want freedom and the ability to roam? That's a personal decision. So what do I want? What do I value? And then making your best decision accordingly. So taking this time to assimilate, what does my gut know and what doesn't it know? What is my heart aligned to? And then taking the information and assimilating and saying, how might I make a decision that's best for me? How might I make a decision that's best for me? Given what my gut says is, yep, that's solid information, no gut alerts, my heart says, yep, that aligns to what I value, and my mind says, boom, here's the best decision. And that's how we assimilate the head brain. So gain knowledge, learn, whatever subject matter that is. Let's take the coronavirus, for example. What do you want to learn about disease? Or what do you want to learn about increased immune system? What do you want to learn about staying safe? What do you want to learn on the economic side of things in terms of what's happening in our world and where are the opportunities to make money and what's dying off the vine? What do you want to learn when it comes to all of that? What do you want to learn about working at home? Gain all the knowledge you need to. Ask your gut, are you getting alerted to anything? Is anything missing in the puzzle? And then if the answer is no, it's all good. Ask your heart, what do you value most? And get honest with yourself. Not what other people think you should value, but what do you value? Because everybody's treating this differently. What's important to you? And then ask yourself, based on that, how might I make a decision that aligns with what I value? And that's how we integrate the head brain. That's how we integrate it. So what are you doing to learn and gain knowledge in your situation? Again, is it the coronavirus? Is this in this unprecedented times of the economy, or is it something else? Or are you looking at this like, no, I'm good with that, but I want to use this as an opportunity to make a decision for me where I'm really happy? What are you doing to gain information, to learn about what's all out there in terms of possibilities? And asking your gut, is it satisfied? Are there any empty blanks? What's important to me? What do I align to in terms of values? And how might I make a decision that is right for me? Now, there is a third step in this wisdom. Once we make that decision to integrate the gut, heart, and head, and it's kind of a sub-point to number 2, and that's that we have to quiet our chattering mind to listen to intuitive wisdom tell us what is the right answer. And that doesn't mean we have to meditate with our legs crossed like this and go, But what it does mean is that we have to breathe deeply into our gut. Now, research does say when we do that on a regular basis, 20 minutes or more a day, we change our brain, meaning that neural pathway that used to go to the amygdala and go into fight flight no longer does that. When we've done this 20 minutes a day of deep breathing into our gut, it's like we have a superhighway to the head brain, the neocortex, the executive functioning part of our brain. So this could mean something simple as you make your cup of coffee in the morning and you sit on the couch and you wonder about something you've been wondering about. and you just practice breathing deeply, and you continue to wonder, and you listen to yourself, and that lowers your brain wave from beta to alpha, and pretty soon the gut, heart, and head are speaking to each other like an effective board of directors, because those neurons, neurotransmitters, and hormones can get up the vagus nerve through the heart to the head brain. So we want to practice this 20 minutes a day. We want to practice it intermittently throughout the day. When we get a gut alert and something's like, oh, pay attention, we want to start our deep breathing right away to say, what is it I need to pay attention to? Okay, how am I feeling? What are my emotions telling me in terms of what I value? And now take a deep breath. How might I make an effective decision that aligns me to what I value most? That's high IQ. That's gut intelligence in action when we synthesize the gut, heart, and head. And then we can respond to the situation with wisdom instead of react out of fear. So we're going to talk a little bit more about wisdom in the next video with some real practical tips and how you can apply it right now.